I'm so excited because Women in Blue is out now. We call it Women in Blue in the United States. Can you talk about the premise for it, please?
So first, the context. So in 1968, there was a big massacre of students in Mexico. So months before the Olympics. So there's and in the 1971, the new president get into the administration. So he knows that there is a big problem and the perception of the police forces from the people in Mexico. So he tried to clean the image of the police forces, and he created this group of cadets, the first cadets in the corporation as like women, but so they receive a lot of brave, encouraged women, but at the end of the day, they realize that this is just a marketing thing. So
Mm.
they just use her. The government used these brave, encouraged, and smart women just to wash the image of the police, and that's the subject and then the context of the show. But at the same time, there was a serial killer who killed women. They called the undresser of Tlalpan, and this serial killer is based in a lot of serial killers on those period of time in Mexico. So it's based in true events. It's not a whole uh,
Real.
realistic thing, but it's based in a lot of things that happened at that time in Mexico City.
You play Gabita's brother, Gerardo. How was he originally described to you?
Well, he's described, you can see it in the show, like he's a really professional and obsessed detective. So he's obsessed with his work because he belonged to a family, the generation through generation through generation, there are police officers. So it's this thing at a family that everyone wants to be better than the abuelo, that everyone wants to be better to the father, everyone wants to be better than that the whole generation of police officers. So he's a detective. I think he's the most prestige rank for the police officers at that time, but at the same time, he was educated in this family, so he's a really sexist man, and he's born and raised like as a machista guy, you know. And I like the character because we need to portray that all the mistakes that the men were making in our relation with the women, and at the same time with Gabina, when he understand the courage of his sister, something in him change. But we were gonna see him through the whole season. What happened to him and how his perception changed? Because at the beginning he doesn't believe that the woman can do something for the police, and because he's stubborn, he's a sexist man, he's a machista man, and at the same time, he's afraid of the health of her sister, of his sister. He's worried about her. So it makes like their beliefs, but at the same time, the love of her sister. So it's because that's something that Latin America, like, it's really common. Like, I protect you
Yes.
because I'm worried about you, and that protection, we made a lot of stupid things as a man against our sisters, our mothers, our wives, and our colleagues. So that's part important of the show.
I love that we meet them in a competition to assemble these guns.
It's
How
really
much
fun.
practice did it take for you and Gabina to
Well, we practice a lot with the professionals before we start shooting and in on set. Like, we play a lot of games, like how we disassemble and assemble the gun, and it's really fun because when we shoot the scene, I talk to the director, to Ferropsar, like, I want to put there like the suburb, the ego of Gerardo is the reason that he was defeated by her sister. Like, he thinks that he has everything in control, and he doesn't believe that her sister can win him. So it's really great scene, and I love that scene. It's a opening scene for both characters, for Gabina and for Gerardo, and it's a really fantastic way to show her, to show all the talented that she has, and how Gerardo. failed when he's defeated. It's really fun to see a big macho man being defeated by her little sister.
Amorita plays Gavina, and she's determined to join this police force against her father's wishes. And we know that Gerardo isn't thrilled about it, but because she objects when he's come to pick her up to take her home. But he seems to also, though, eventually embrace that she wants this detective life. What does he really think about her dream to be a detective?
That's part important of the show because I think Gerardo was educated like it doesn't matter what he thinks, he need to do. So he was educated like your own soul and your own a human being, it doesn't matter. You're part of the police officer, so you need to respect the rules, even in home. So they have like really strict rules at home.
That's
So
once you get her, you get her.
yeah, so that's why you get her and you need to take her out. But I think in that scene when he can see her like in different ways, not her little sister anymore. Like she's acting as a cadet and she's acting like a really brave woman. Something happened in Gerardo. That's why he doesn't take her, he doesn't grab her and push her out like violence. I think like something happened in him, like she is as brave as me. She is as brave as all the Herreras. And that's why maybe he doesn't take her with him, and he gives the opportunity for her. And I think it's something that in the next episodes you can see how positive was affect him. Like her sister took his life in her own hands because I believe that all these Herrera brothers at some point they want to take their own decisions. They want to be themselves and they don't want to be the son of their father. They want to be themselves, and she's the first one who took the decision to be herself, the youngest one, and the woman. And that's a really important fact in the show, and that's I think like it's a really strong symbol for all this macho family, like the youngest one and the weak one is not her, is not the weak, but they believe that she's the weakest.
Mhm.
She's the strongest one. And she took the more courage decision, like to say, I am who I am, father, and I don't care what you think about it.
Gerardo is obsessed with finding this serial killer to the point he's given a push to a person. He
Yeah.
forces a confession out of them. What is it about this serial killer that has him so determined? Is it just a need to prove himself, your drive for justice because you are in this long line of police officers?
I think it's a mix of things. First one, he's obsessed to be the one who take the serial killer. But at the same time, there's a lot of pressure from the politics because as I told you at the beginning, like the context of Mexico, they want answers and they want to justice. So he's obsessed with that. So, and I think that the context of Mexico in this 1971, I think it's one of the worst years of our story as a country because those years everything changed. So the politics, they took the decision to do whatever they need to do to control the people. And I think that's why Gerardo needs to give them answers and need to give them the results. And that's why uh, he's capable to do everything to give like results to not to his father, to the boss, to the politics, and to his own vision of justice.
There's an intensity and an adrenaline to every scene in this series because these women are trying to prove themselves, but also there's this serial killer that they're trying to now capture. How did you all shake off a long day of filming?
Well, I think for me, I'm a blessing guy because I have my wife, my kids, my dogs. So every day after like a really hard day with this heavy scenes, like with this like strong and shaking scenes to get to arrive to my home and to see my wife, to hug her, to receive my daughter jumping on me, like smiling, making jokes, my son, even my dogs. So that I like I think that's my like battery, like my energy to finish the day, to say, okay, cut the set, it's there, and this is my life, and I'm a really blessed guy. And at the same time, it's really important to create these characters. Like, I want to see my daughter in a better world. So to make a better world for her, I need to be a better man, not as Gerardo. And maybe that's what I put from Horacio to Gerardo. Like, what will happen in those days? Somebody teach us that it's a better way to walk together and to work together as a man, woman, and as a people from different color of skin, and as a different religions and different descendancy. So, like somebody show us a way to doing like together. I think the word right now is gonna be better. So we want a better future for my daughter, for the kids, for my wife, for my dogs, for everybody. So it's a good way to get it home and to receive all this positive energy and to try to give this light to these really, really, really thick characters like Gerardo.
I think that's also what's going to make this show, Women in Blue, a fast fan favorite. There's this woman empowerment. There's showing women can break old traditions and things like that, and be a better role model for people, women, people, like all these different things as well. Is that what you think is going to make Women in Blue such a fast fan favorite show? Not just because there's this gripping drama to it where you're trying to catch the serial killer, but because it inspires women and teaches maybe also the Latin culture that women aren't just meant to be at home anymore.
Yeah, I think like I really love those shows that they give you something more than just the entertainment, you know?
Sure.
But the entertainment is nice and the entertainment is good. And at the same time, there you have a reflection with yourself and with your society. Like, it's really fun when we talk about when we're shooting the show and we talk about the issues that the woman will go through in those years. A few things change now. There's a bunch of things that there doesn't change yet. So some men in some part of the society, they're still like Gerardo Herrera. They still thinking as my father in the show. And that was almost 53 years ago. And so what we need to do now to change faster. And that's why I really like this show. And at the same time, I really enjoy all the drama and the serial killer and the crime thriller there. But at the same time, they give us a chance to realize that working together is the best way to work in as a society.
What are the other projects that you've been busy working on lately?
Well, I have some projects, but there's one that I really loved it and I'm really excited about. It's a animated film from DC Comics and Anime Studios and Warner Studios, and he's Aztec Batman. I need to show this. So this is not the Aztec Batman of the show, but it's kind of.
Oh, that's
So
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 cool.
they create this show. Is the first Bruce Wayne that is not actually Bruce Wayne. So he's the first Batman. He's not related to the Wayne family. His name is Yowali, and it's a mix between the history of Mexico and the fantasy of DC Comics in 1521 when Hernan Cortés arrived to Mexico. What will happen in Mexico? There's a young hero related to the bad god, to the Kamasot and Sinakan, that is the god bad. What will happen if we have a hero to fight against these conquerors and to change the plot of the history? And it's a fantasy, but it's a good way to dream, to dream farther, to dream in another position, and to show the kids that there's a story there, that our countries they had a big story. We came from like a really strong roots. And with these kind of shows that they're fantasy, like we can see different things. So I'm really excited about this animated film. And I think they're making a really great job to put together these two worlds, the fantasy and the history of my country.
It must mean so much to you then, as clearly a fan of
Yes.
to be a part of not just an animated series, but to be Batman, be a part of
Yes.
Batman.
Yeah, because I always believe that the fantasy in fantasy we can tell a lot of stories of ourselves, like to put ourselves in this position to try to see the world like from different perspective, so you can see a lot of things of the society, and that's why I really, really, really love the metaphor in the fantasy, the metaphor in dark fantasy, the metaphor in comics, and the metaphor in the we call realismo mágico in Mexico. So for me, it's a dream to be part of an animated film like this, and the first animated film from DC Comics to Latin America.
Not just Blue Beetle out there. This is another hero to come for
Yeah, but Blue Beetle is in the States. It's a Mexican American in the States. So this show it's all in Mexico
full
and
Mexico.
and 5051. So like 500 years ago. So I it's like when they made this show, the movie of Prey, like Predator Prey, like to portray the Navajos there. So it's really important for me to show that we came from those roots and we can see in our faces as Latin Americans.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the incredible work you do on our screens?
Wow, I want to say first, thank you. Thank you to be with me, to share with me, to give me the energy that I need to keep going in this industry and to dream hard and to believe. I came from a small town in Veracruz in Mexico, and at some point I dreamed that I want to be an actor. I want to tell stories, and I work hard. And I moved to Mexico City to study acting, and now I'm here, and now I'm Batman. You know, if somebody asked me many years ago if I believe that I'm gonna make it, maybe I will say no. But that now I need to sit to tell to these people, believed, believe in yes, work hard because there's a lot of doors there, and some people want to open doors for somebody else, and that's what I want to do in the future. Like try to open the doors for more artists, more talented people. So dream hard, work hard, and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and look yourself into the mirror. And you need to understand that you're beautiful and you came from like really strong roots. And for the people who share features like me, like we came from indigenous heritage, like to believe all those roots, like in our faces, there's a piece of story of our own countries. And I think it's really important to believe and to dream and to work and dance and laugh and enjoy life. That's why we're here. Sometimes it's hard to enjoy life, but we need to find the place to enjoy it. Use more our dreams and our heart instead this kind of things. Like live.
Good advice.